You went to sea for the day. You wanted to know what to say when he's asked what he'd done in the past to someone.
I also found when I was hanging out first with people who were creative, the painters were always much more interesting as drinking companions or as just general people who had attitude, like that you could get much more from a group of painters at night. A group of writers would all A, go home, or B, have nothing to say, or want to talk about themselves or something, whereas the painters were like really, especially in Dublin.
At 15, I became an office boy on the London Daily Mail. Part of my job was occasionally to take cartoons up to the darkroom. As soon as I walked into the darkroom and I saw photographs in a tray just developing in front of my eyes, this was total magic for me. So that was where my initial interest in photography happened.
When I'm writing, and I'm writing at the moment, you know, like my head is actually just in a play or in a film or whatever, and I don't really sort of think about the world that much. And then you sort of come out and you hop on a plane and you go, right, okay, what am I doing here? And then you're sort of arriving, you go, oh, right, okay, this. And that's the way I've always sort of approached things. It sort of drives my wife absolutely crazy, of course, but I tend to sort of just be in my head a lot of the time, you know, with the company of, you know, characters.
Sometimes I think tunes find a composer, you know, and I'm inclined to believe that there's no such thing really as an original composition, that all these tunes have existed before time began even. And I think the musician or the composer is just a privileged person who's been used as a vehicle to bring these tunes down to earth.
Got no worries, got no dog in this fight. Paper bird, take this offering from my hat, a simple trail back to the light. Maybe time will provide.
My vocabulary is very much one of ratios and relation, things like, you know, density, but always in paradox and finding balance and taking measure. It sounds terribly abstract and arid, but for me it's raw passion.
The more I got into it, the more I realized how relevant this was, how impossible it would be almost at this moment in time to do anything else. The landscape is so bleak, so scary, so devoid of kind of vision or imagination, that to sort of zero in on the self seemed to me appropriate in some strange way. I prefer that, you know, the vast bulk of the Irish people would understand what I'm doing, rather than, you know, 50 art experts would know what I'm doing.
Working in theatre has a finite sense of time, as you can only be there for a dress rehearsal. It'll always be pressurised, and it was always somebody else's parameters rather than your own. It was like a training, it was like a discipline, but having left that world behind, I'm now in the world of my own imagination, where I do the pictures that I want to take, not what somebody else wants me to take.
And how did you take that leap of faith?
I took that leap of faith because I had to, because I couldn't continue with doing the work I was doing. It all started to look exactly the same.
Fascinated by the charm of a beautiful and delicate thing, dazzled by its beauty, you forget you know what life lies within, and you forget you know what lies within.
Did you find a photograph of you on Top of the Pops with
With me bra?
Yeah. Speaking
No,
of
I can never
inspiration.
find that picture when I did think that it would be cool to go on and do, filthy now, the old decadent days and take some clothing off to reveal black bra and skirt. But then when I did it, it was really awful, stupid thing to do because everybody said that I was fat, basically.
I was always kind of writing at some level, even as a kid, and kind of depressed teenage poetry, you know. But I was one of the kind of misfortunate poor idiots then who never kind of lost that teenage kind of urge to get stuff down on paper and kept going. But I would say I wasn't really doing it seriously until I was in my late 20s, when I'd been working as a freelance journalist and doing fine, but I still had this itch or this urge to write fiction and to write creatively, and I got more disciplined towards my kind of late 20s, and it became kind of the first thing I would do every day.
Joyce said, he said in a letter to Frank Budgeon, he said, I've been so long out of Ireland that I can all at once hear her voice in everything.
Do you believe you're a writer yet?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. I would have to say yes. Yeah.